No.
So here with us today we have Father Flossenlagen. Here we're going to ask him some questions. Father, why are sacraments not just symbols or ways to remember God's love for us?
Well, if that's all they were, they'd be sort of, like a keepsake or something like that. The sacraments are ways that God makes himself present to us. And that's, so you actually are a meeting of God in the sacraments. You're not just thinking about it or reminded of it and that sort of thing. If we use the word, we use the word a sign. A sign is distinguished from a symbol. Calls us what it signifies. Maybe a good example in ordinary life would be like a stop sign. A stop sign doesn't just remind you, it's good to stop. It makes you stop. Now, why does it make you stop? It makes you stop because it's got the authority of the law behind it. And so it brings the law to you and affects something. It doesn't just suggest something or remind you of something. It suggests. So the same thing with except in a much more personal way. The sacraments of God's way of relating to us. Just like we relate to each other through our bodies and through our words and things like that. We have to.
So like what you're saying is that's God's way of communicating with us, basically.
Yeah, it's his way of communicating with us, yep. And the sacrament is not very much use. If the person, of course, has got to receive the communication. Otherwise, the God is communicating there. We're assured of that. But are we receiving it? If we're not, well, it's like having somebody in an elevator with you that you don't even pay attention to. You're present, but you're not.
Yeah, it's our choice to talk to them or not. Like it's our choice to receive the sacraments or not.
Yeah, and then of course, what do you bring to it? I mean, there's some people that when they receive the sacrament, it's a real. There's some Saint Ignatius was a mystical experience. When he received the sacrament, he would get caught up in an experience of joy or something like that, and would tend to say that sometimes an altar server have to say, "Hey, come on, we got to get on with the rest of the mass. You can't just get off." And then this experience with God, because you got things you have to do. So anyhow, it's so people bring. Some people bring more. Some people bring a little less to a particular sacrament. So that's a very important thing. What do you bring to it?
Okay. So second, why are the sacraments important to the church?
Well, just like you want to be present to somebody that you love in the important part of things in their lives, events in their lives. So when you have a birthday, you throw a party, or you phone them or something like that, so you're present to them. Well, sacraments is one of the ways, not the only way, but one of the ways that God makes himself present to us in the important points of our lives. So baptism, you small, and for Catholics, a small child is beginning his life in the church. So God makes himself present at that time of life. In marriage, he makes himself there. And if you've ever attended the death of someone, that's a very profound experience. And the sacrament is one of the ways, it's not the only way, it's one of the ways that God makes himself present to the person.
Right, like in the last question we asked, basically the sacraments are the way God communicates with us.
That's right, in the important parts of our lives, yes. Now the Eucharist is daily life, our daily bread, our daily food, to sustain us.
Like, the Eucharist helps us come closer to God because we're eating Jesus' body and blood.
And the sacrament of reconciliation is when we've wandered off the deep end, maybe pretty far, and God's way of welcoming us back and given us this experience of His forgiveness.
Excuse me. Third question. Why are the sacraments meaningful to you?
Well, of course, I didn't put primarily myself as a priest. I can only, let me just sort of, this may not be the most profound theological thing, but, I'm a strong introvert, and therefore really making contact with people is not the easy. I'm not an extrovert. I just go out and here I am, boom. But by giving the sacraments, by performing the sacraments, God works through me to bring Himself into contact with the person. And so people let me into their lives. I have some very significant things in their life. People tell you things that maybe nobody else even knows about you. Because they want to talk about it, they want God's forgiveness and God's grace. So it's an awesome thing.
So what you're saying is, you as a priest, you get to learn, meet a lot of people, learn more about them than they would.
Well, yes, it's deeper than that. It's you want to express. Everybody wants to express who he is, and for me to be as a priest is not just a title like teacher or something like that. It is who I am, and so sacraments give me a chance to express who I am.
And the final question, can you name one memory of the reception of the sacrament that really stood out to you personally?
Well, yeah, there are lots and lots, of course, but just so I remember myself, personal things, well, obviously, my ordination. I was a Jesuit for 13 years before I was ordained. In my ordination, I was a different person at the moment I was ordained than I was before, because it gave me a different relationship to the people of God. And so I felt the difference right away when I went out. Suddenly, I am in related. And so now for myself, before I took that final step, I thought to myself, maybe I need to go back over my life and through the sacrament of reconciliation, and maybe do a purification or address and look at anything that may need to be corrected to make me more effective and more fitting to be a priest. And so that's what I did. It was important to me when I became a priest, when I was ordained, to say, I have gone back and I've looked at my life, I've looked at everything that I could in my life in the presence of somebody else, and I was nothing hidden. In fact, at the end of my confession, I remember asking the priest, do you think it is okay for me to be ordained? And the priest said, after hearing my confession, he said yes. And so, he gave me confidence, okay, I done what I could. I did to prepare myself. The rest, that's up to God. So that was a very important confession in my life.
Well, thank you for your time.
Sure.